So, here I am fighting in a civil war, thinking about how I'd replay my game when I'm finally done. And it came to me, the Dawnguard. So this entire mod idea is a complete rework of the start of the Dawnguard DLC. I'd call it Dawnguard Renewal, or something like that. Because at the end of the day, it's a very unimmersive, silly start to the Dawnguard DLC. So let me explain. Let's go and sort of walk through kind of what you do at the start of Dawnguard. So I've obviously already done the quest since I've had my save open for an entire year. But you pretty much get a message from an orc who tells you to go to Fort Dawnguard and start hunting vampires. And this is exactly what you do. When you first get here, there's no camp there. You're met by a Breton outside the front that tells you you're going to talk to Isran. And, well, this is kind of where it's really unimmersive and very silly in terms of immersion and common sense. It's your typical Bethesda quest where you go there to do a simple thing, but end up in a life-changing, world-saving event. So, let's go and check that out. Now, this is where the common sense and immersion kind of drops off. Because you're simply here just to hunt and kill vampires. Oh shit, this guy's going to be loud. So, you're here to essentially just hunt vampires, right? That's what you've joined up for, a vampire hunting group. But, typical Bethesda fashion, you join the group, and then you're thrown straight into the deep end straight away. So, you walk in, Isran's talking to some vigilant dude, right? About how the Vigilance Hall was destroyed by vampires, and they're now investigating Dim Hollow's crypt, which is an ancient vampire lair. Yet, Isran, in his complete and utter brightness, who just found out that the vampires single-handedly just wiped out an entire group of people, designed in killing him, had just destroyed this Vigilance HQ, is now investigating a vampire lair, and he decides, nah, I'll just send this new dude, who I've never even really met, I know nothing about, I'm going to send this pissant level 10 to deal with it themselves. I mean, what in God's name? He sends a level 10 on their own. Like, wouldn't this be the sort of common sense thing to do is to go, oh, holy shit, this is serious. They just wiped out, the Vigilance of Stendar's HQ, and they're now investigating an ancient crypt. Now, this is dangerous. This is crazy. So let's mobilize the force. Hey, new guy, come with me, we're going to Dim Hollow Crypt. And then he would have, you would have followed Isran into the fray. You would have followed the leader of this vampire hunting group, and all the members that they already had, like 3 of them or so, could have went with you. But no, he sends someone he has no idea about, and he sends some level 10 that has no experience hunting vampires, and he tells the vampire hunter that survived not to go. But eventually that vampire hunter does go, and you find him dead at the front. I mean, an experienced vampire hunter is dead when you get there, and he's sent a level 10 or
we do this for the good of
pissant to go and do this on their own. Now, he knows nothing about you. Nothing at all. You could just find Serana, take her back, and like, holy crap, this guy wants to make me a powerfully immortal vampire? Fuck yeah. I'm taking that for sure. I'm 100% taking that power trip. He doesn't know your values between hating vampires. He doesn't know, do you seek power and fame, or do you seek the eradication of vampires at any cost? He single-handedly just handed over the sun from all of Tamriel to a vampire clan because of his stupidity and the whole lack of common sense. Now that is the problem with that. That's kind of how you start the Dawnguard quest. You're not even a member yet, and he sends you flying into the most dangerous cesspool in the Dawnguard DLC. Right? Someone he has no idea about, someone that's not experienced whatsoever. And he sends you there. And you can either decide from then to continue the Dawnguard quest line once you deliver the vampire to her home, or you can decide to betray the Dawnguard's whole idea and become a vampire. Now that shit is unimmersive. It's silly and stupid. So, how will we change this? And now this sort of mod idea is looking at, well, it's looking at a simple mod that I absolutely adore his mods, and he's made so many immersive mods, and that's JaySpera. JaySpera is the mod author behind Headhunter, which made bounty hunting actually immersive, and he's also the sort of similar idea, the mod author of the College of Winterhold Expanded, where you actually join the college and become a student for like the first 10 quests. You're doing study for the headmasters in the school before you're thrown into the fray and have to save the world from the Eye of Magnus. This is the kind of idea that I'm pointing towards JaySpera, or any sort of decent modder that wants to rework the Dawnguard quest into an immersive way and more of a common sense way but also make it realistic in the sense of like this can be different. The way you start this quest can be different depending on what you are,
On the
a
coldest of
mortal
nights, in the
or a
steam
vampire.
rising from
Now,
within,
firstly,
I see the many faces
I'm going to
of
go into
the
how you start the Dawnguard quest. Come with me, and if you're interested, stick
So,
around. How we first join the Dawnguard? We're going to add common sense and immersion into this, right? So when you get the letter from the Orc, the Vigilance of Stendar's base hasn't been destroyed yet. And when you first get here, the Vigilant of Stendar that survived isn't here yet. You've simply come to hunt vampires, and that's exactly what you're going to do. When you join, you're going to have Gunmar and Serene already there waiting in the circle. Why? Well, because it's a fetch quest, and fetch quests are boring and unnecessary. Especially Gunmar's. You've got to go help him kill a bear, or you've got to help Serene find some dwarven trinkets, and at level 10 your conversation skills are going to be shit. It's not going to work. So you have to help these people do their fetch quest, and then come back to the Dawnguard, the second mission, and then get scanned as a vampire. So the second mission, or the third mission, is really going to be the first mission, where you walk through the door, and you go talk to Isran, and there's two other people there, which eradicate the boring fetch quest of, Serene and Dunmar. And when you walk into the center, the gates behind you are lifted, and you're scanned to be a vampire. Now, if you're a vampire, you're going to get fried and put to ash. But if you're not, you're going to be able to be recruited. And since Gunmar and Serene are already there, you then have the option to start hunting, right? Gunmar and Serene are previous members of that. Maybe they're already there. Maybe they're already joined on to Isran. And instead of Gunmar being there, you find a couple of the new recruits, like this chick with the crossbow, or the young lad that Isran is teaching how to use the crossbow in the very second mission of the Dawnguard. You find just new recruits there, and they're new like you. And he scans you, and he basically, new voice dialogue from 11 Labs AI, he could tell you to go and talk to Gunmar to start your job as a vampire hunter. And he could send you after vampires in bandit lairs. Isran could send you after vampires hiding amongst mortals. All sorts of different things. Your main goal there was to and is to hunt vampires, because they're starting to pop up, and there's no real reason to why, but it's understood that they're starting to pop up, and now Isran's sending his crew. He's expanding his crew. And that's what you do for about 5 to 10 to 15 missions. You just go out and you hunt vampires. You give it a mission, you go out and hunt vampires. And eventually Isran or Serene will give you a mission to go out and find that priest of Arcane. And gives you more missions. And eventually one day you come back to Fort Dawnguard, and there is the Vigilant of Stendar. Finally, throughout time of playing the actual DLC, of being an actual proper vampire hunter, the Vigilance of Stendar's base has been destroyed. And that's kind of how you start the quest. Because again, the fact that you do not get scanned at all as soon as the game starts is pure stupidity. So this way you could just stop the fetch quest. Isran and whatever the fucking name is are already members of the Dawnguard, and you're just there to hunt vampires. Very much like the College of Winterhold expanded quest by JaySpera, you're there to learn to become a mage. You're not there to save the world. It's silly. But again, we want it to be vampire hunters, not world savers just yet. We want to work our way into the vampire hunting business. And then, so like I said, you do his quest, and you go there, and then you start the game, and you can, you are pretty much... Now, this is actually an idea that was taken from another mod called Serana Dialogue Extended. Very smart idea, that when a Serana gets out, she actually charms you. Because it makes also no sense that you're a vampire hunter. You've just met an ancient vampire, and you've got to hand-deliver her to the goddamn vampires. I mean, that makes no bloody sense at all. None. Wouldn't you just kill her and take the Elder Scroll and bring it back? That could definitely be an option, cutting down a lot of the quests, but there'd be a lot of work to do with voice AI and story manipulation and all that sort of stuff. So she could charm you, take you there, you deliver her, maybe you refuse the gift, or you take the gift, and you could continue the storyline as it was meant to be. But you refuse the gift, and you feel kind of strange that the charm is lifted. And you go back to Isran, you tell him, and then the shit hits the fan, and then you start the official Dawnguard quest, as you normally would. Now, that is how I would see redoing the Dawnguard quest in an immersive way, which would make sense as a vampire hunter. Because again, my first initial thing was I want to go there to hunt vampires. I don't want to go there to fight some gigantic, vampire clan that's ancient and most powerful. That's just a massive turn off to a new vampire hunter. I'm strictly joining up to hunt and kill vampires, not save the world. But maybe working my way into killing vampires and seeing the threat for myself and realising how big it starts to become would be a thing. It's like Oblivion's quest. When you first start the game, there's like bugger all Oblivion gates, bugger all people trying to kill you. But the more you advance into it, the more Oblivion gates would open up, and the more random people and cities turn into Daedric spies or agents and try to kill you. You work your way into it, so it's not just, oh, I just jumped into like a shallow part of the water, and the next is like a 10-foot drop. You want it to be immersive, and that is how I would have the Dawnguard quest start. Now for the vampires, it would be kind of unique. Again, you become a vampire, and of course the orc isn't going to come in hand deliver you a message because you're a bloody vampire. He's going to see that you're a vampire, red eyes, and try to kill you. And maybe that's kind of how you find out about the Dawnguard. Okay? He comes and tries to kill you because you're a vampire with some recruits or whatever, some unnamed Dawnguard soldiers. And you read a message and you find that they're hunting vampires. They're on the full hunt. And, oh my god, I'm sorry. I wasn't even aiming at you. And so, again, you're like, holy crap, there's a new group of vampire hunters. I don't want to be killed. And you're eventually tracked down by a vampire wearing Valkyrie vampire gear who talks to you and sends you basically a message to go straight to Castle Volcare. Alright, the vampires are out there actively recruiting. And so that's pretty much what you do. You go and meet Harkon, and these voice lines could be either used from extending voice lines or added by voice AI lines from 11 Labs AI. I've done many of those on my channel before. They're really good. I mean, it's top-notch, like AI voice, right? Now, you're sent to Harkon. He basically goes, listen, we are doing some things, we're studying some things, I might have found a secret place where my daughter is, blah blah blah, but I need some more information, and the Vigilants have that information. I'm sending you with a team to destroy the Vigilants of Stendar, and you are one of those vampires that are sent with maybe 15 or 20 or 30 of them to destroy the Vigilants of Stendar. You go in there, you kill them all, you kill Vigilant Carset, and you light the flags on fire. And then you walk out, and you go back to Fort Dawnguard with the information, you go back with a prisoner. Alright, you go back to that guy that you're designed to kill. And, or maybe the vampires take him and they take him somewhere else because they find out where he was going, and you have to go back and tell Harkon of your success. You do that, you go back, then Harkon sends you to where they were going with that prisoner. Right, you get there, and the Dawnguard's found out. And they've, this Vigilant that was meant to die at the very start is there with maybe some high-ranking, maybe, since you're no longer part of the Dawnguard quest DLC, then they're not really designed to hunt you down, even at the end of the vanilla Dawnguard quest. Maybe Israel or maybe some higher-ups of the Dawnguard are actually there. They've killed all the vampires. They've maybe freed the prisoner. And they're right at the base into where you put your hand through the spike and you become, like you open up the door for Serana. So you kill these Dawnguard members and you free Serana. You take her back home and you follow the quest as is. Because again, the Dawnguard aren't really involved pretty much at all. I mean, there's so many Dawnguard members that only show up in the game if you're a vampire or if you join the vampires. And so that would be how you kind of join the Valkyrie clan. You're recruited by a vampire that sends you to the castle, and you're sent with a team of new recruits or vampires to destroy the Vigilants and take a prisoner. You then go back to and report the success. You're then sent to the ancient vampire lair, find the Dawnguard have gotten in there, killed all the vampires that you were sent with, and you've now killed all of them, maybe killed Gunmar or whatever, and the Vigilant has survived, and you've now freed Serana, and you're able to continue the quest as is. This would be an amazing, immersive, game-changing way how to start the Dawnguard DLC with common sense and immersion. For starts with both with hunters and vampires, where you can physically be join onto the vampires as an actual vampire. If you become a vampire at level 5 and level 10 comes along, you can physically join the Dawnguard, or sorry, not the Dawnguard, the Valkyrie clan as a vampire without having to go through the Dawnguard quest. And you can kill instances of them off by the time of the end of the game, because I thought at the very end of the Dawnguard DLC, sorry, the Valkyrie side, that you'd hunt down and kill the Dawnguard, but you don't. I mean, once you've killed Harkon, there's no hunt to kill the Dawnguard members. There's really not. It's really strange. Like, I really thought since the Dawnguard go after the Valkyrs, maybe the Valkyrs go after the Dawnguard at the very end. But there's no quest for that, so you could instantaneously wipe them out quest by quest, eventually before the guild's pretty much non-existent, and you blackened out the sun. So this, for me, would be an amazing mod, and I'm going to aim it at JaySpera because this is the kind of crazy shit that he does. It would take a bit of work, no doubt, and it would be an ESP, but this would be an amazing mod. One of the greatest ideas that ever popped in my head when it comes to Skyrim modding. An immersive way how to join both sides of the Valkyr, all the hunters, no matter, like, yeah. So, like, I'd love that, man. If I'm running around as level 10 vampire, I get recruited by a vampire. If I'm running around as level 10 mortal, I get recruited by an orc of the hunters. I join the hunters, straight up. So I don't have to go through boring fetch quests. It's immersive. It's just kind of the way that I would really imagine joining the Dawnguard as a hunter. The intention of killing vampires, not saving the world. Or I join the vampires because there's now a new hunter group out there, and being a vampire on your own is very dangerous, and you need people to protect. You need numbers to protect yourself as a vampire. Living on your own as a vampire is not safe. You're powerful, but you're easily outnumbered. And you go join a clan for survival, and you become pretty much the headmaster of it. You become a more powerful vampire. You go from this pissant vampire to a pure-blooded vampire. And so this could be a very, really awesome way to change the Dawnguard DLC for the better, for an immersive way, and for the common sense sake. Anyway, hopefully I've gotten all of it out of my head right now into a video format. And hopefully people enjoy this, and hopefully this video gets around. Like, hopefully if you've enjoyed this video, share it. I don't really ask people to share my videos, I don't give a shit, but hopefully this gets out enough to actually, to a modder that has the ability to do all this crap, and is intrigued by the idea and goes, holy shit, and starts to make it. So, anyway, if you've enjoyed this, share it around, do what you like, that'd help out, and all that sort of stuff, and I hope you have a good one, and I'm out of here. Catch ya.